the Pan-African Daily TV. I mean, the day is not good, as we can already see, starting from our time and our technique. There's just this kind of days where everything just doesn't seem to. The first thing is the mistake on our flyer that this program is, 9 p.m. East African time, which was absolutely, or 8 p.m., which is 9 p.m. actually this time now. And the second thing is our guest for today on this topic would not be able to join us for technical reasons. And so, but we have very important updates and announcements and communications and breaking news from the continent to share with you today. So I want to thank all of you that are joining the show for today. As you can see, I'm alone in the studio. You can already feel the mood that today is not just that kind of happy days as usual, but because in less than just 2 months, we lost two African head of state. As you heard today announcing, and is trending on social media, that the president of Chad, re-elected president of Chad, His Excellency Debris, I mean, I don't know how this name, Idris Deby, passed on today, and that he was shot, and this news just broke in, and we were trying to readjust the programs and try to see how we can focus on this break-in. So, but tomorrow, actually, we're going to deliberate on the situation out there in Chad. So, first of all, we want to extend our condolences to the Chadian citizens all over the world, Africa as a continent as a whole, and particularly also our solidarity and sympathy to all the Chadians on the continent. Yes, it is another day, just like any other day. But of course, like our topic for today would have been actually the immigrants, as we saw 41, more than 41 immigrants, African immigrants died crossing the Mediterranean this week, amongst others, children or baby, as we heard by the United Nations Human Rights Commission for Refugees announced it, and they confirm it. And we know this is not the first case, coming up like this. Afro News is telling us that we have more than 18,000, refugees that have just passed on in this Europe seas, be it through trafficking and this illegal means, and leaving dead bodies down there in Europe's ocean. Since 2018, in the past 3 years now, we have 18,000 young African brains just disappear on the Europe Sea. This is very, very pathetic. So you see, the topic for today, like I say, and all the situation is not getting any lighter for us. So there actually is nothing that we're going to celebrate here today. But of course, there's still going to be some good news coming out there from Malawi, as we saw the Malawian president announce the COVID fund, and there were some inquiries, and some people are actually going down, with this situation in case of corruption and stuff. And now we begin to see some signals of, another leader that is coming up to clean up the house out there. So we want to congratulate the citizens of Malawi, and also His Excellency Chakwera, whom we saw during the Magnification Week, really, really active in the process. And he gave one of the most powerful Pan-African speech that is still watched till today and going viral and viral. So, but we also would be deliberating this week on these topics under Malawi particularly, and we want to get a guest directly from there to tell us actually the situation with the COVID funds. Are there going to be penalties? We already heard that some ministers have been sacked out of office. So we also would be getting into these details. Then today also, we, as we announcing the death of the passing away of the president, we also see that his 37-year-old son has been elected, or has been installed as the president in this transit period. He's been sworn in like the president now. He's called Muhammad Idris Deby, is now considered during this period as Africa's youngest leader. Yeah, and these are all break-ins that are coming up from the Pan-African Daily TV Facebook news page. And also, we're announcing this situation to you here on the Pan-African Daily TV. It is another sad day. We cannot pretend. It doesn't matter. We've seen a lot of interactions on the social media. We're going to be bringing you these stories tomorrow, which is going to be on this topic, situation Chad. Want to find out actually what happened. We've been getting some conflicting reports, and we don't want to make some mistakes here. But you can go to our Pan-African Daily TV Facebook page. We've been actually putting out the content there since morning, and you can find out really useful information, concrete and original, yeah, from the sources. But tomorrow we are also going to be showing you, the announcement video. We already have it on the page going on. For those of you that are following from our Pan-African Daily TV, you could see the official announcement of this passing away of this president by the military of Chad. Yeah, it was a solemn occasion as usual. But what strikes us more is the interaction. The interaction on the social media. We're still trying to collect some voices out there, collect some data and some information, some tweets that Africans are tweeting. They're not really very like in those days when we had late Magufuli passed away. You could see the atmosphere was actually different. People broke down. It was just like the light has switched off. But this one, I don't know, but there's some kind of mixed feelings here, and I don't think that's the right thing for us to do. But everyone has their opinion. Some are saying he was long to do in the presidentship, and a lot of people are just having some different perspective about him. But we would want to have a conversation with experts, right, on these topics, and so we're looking out to reach out. If we can have a correspondence as usual on this topic, that would be very fine. So we are breaking it on the situation chat tomorrow on the Pan-African Daily TV. So stay tuned with us. It's going to be another kind of a, I don't know, actually maybe the current situation there that was not really aware what actually broke out. Was there a conflict already boiling in the background between Libya and Chad? What actually was behind? Yeah. And so we want to get some concrete information before we can actually say something here on the Pan-African Daily TV that is authentic, yeah, and verified. Good. Like I said, normally our topic for today was this 41,000 dead at sea, African immigrants that just passed on also this week. This is a very, very important topic, and we don't want to take it lightly. Yeah. And so we are moving this topic to Thursday. So we would be having different correspondents. We'll be having Afro News also to tell us the statistics of these African migrants, those that have passed on, those that even are still in those conditions that are really, really unfavorable. Our point of view, as we all know, is to find out what are their challenges actually? What is Africa doing wrong? There must be something that we are not acting right. I know there's been a lot on the governance, the need for good governance and leadership. There also has been a lot that we know, the miserable situation of young Africans that are jobless, and like nothing is working on the continent, and so young people just choose Europe or the neighboring countries to be a kind of a harbor for them, in the quest of looking for greener pastures or to just have a life. Yes, but we also know that it is not just only that, because that could be a situation why people are fleeing. Now we want to find more. We want to see actually the root cause. A lot of people are saying bad governance, corruption, joblessness, unemployment, right? But is that all? Is that really it? Where does the root cause start from? And so we want to find out, what is the kind of education that we have? Do we have a kind of education that empower Africans to create or to innovate, to build businesses? or we have the kind of education that prepares Africans to invest in their education and wait on jobs. And there's no job market. So these are some of the key points that we want to share perspective and have some experts to hold this conversation with us, because the situation is not different like in the past. And now we said in the past, or was, I don't want to call it slavery again, because we had this topic, right? And our brother and expert, Adams Hunter, who was here recently, told us it is not slavery, it is human trafficking. It is about human trafficking. And now we can see the same scenario. It is not just the immigrants. Yes, the situation is, it is the way it is on the continent. But now, what sorts of means are they using? In the past, they were robbed, they were cut, they were hijacked, they were stolen, they were illegally taken. But today, we're seeing another scenario. Now the free willy give up to go, but now look at the means at which they used to travel. So it's like, and they pay huge sums of money. So we really want to reflect a lot. We want to reflect. We don't want to just be on shallow thinking and looking on the symptoms only. The symptoms are like unemployment, yeah. The symptoms are like bad governance, corruption. The symptoms are like, what else? Every other thing, poverty, hunger, you can name them. Those are all symptoms. But what is the root cause of the symptoms? I would like you young people, you Africans watching us on the Pan-African Daily TV, to do a kind of a research. What is the root cause on the continent of Africa that is chasing young Africans, migrants out? The first reflection, think about the education. Do our education system give the opportunity for young people to study and to create, to be entrepreneurs, right? Like have a vocational kind of a system where people can actually hands-on create something, build machines, open up their small little companies where they can produce. That drives us to the point of wealth creation of the African. We've never been taught, an African has never been taught to create wealth. It's as if the term millionaire, billionaire, building wealth, earning money, being rich is a taboo to the African ears. Why? Why are some key words not pleasant? Now, it's going to be demonized. Even in social gatherings, when we talk about the mindset, yes, we look at statistics, like if you look at China, right? I mean, I don't think the situation in China is much better than in Africa. All the systems can just be a little bit, but they had resulted in a system of creation. They create most of China's multi-millionaires or billionaires are young people. It means, and most of them, we saw some of them with Lamborghinis and very massive, huge, expensive luxury cars, or even those that are coming up with brands, luxury global brands. They're young people. So why should a continent like Africa be the continent that is a consumer continent? Like we just consume, like we just buy, we just shop. And then we take the opposite of Africa, the AAs, like we say, Asia. They're more into creating. So this continent is producing, creating wealth. And then one continent is just, the continent of Africa is just buying. And then you begin to ask the purchasing power. Even though there is unemployment on the continent of Africa, young people are jobless. There's just even no future. If you look at the statistics of the unemployment rate, we're going to come up to the statistics, yeah? And you could ask yourself, so what is the buying power of Africa? it's not possible to talk about the poverty rate and then you're pushing your market to the continent. Who is the buyer? Who is the buyer? And in terms of even resources, yeah, we trade in these resources, but they bring back the market to us. Who is the consumer? Where did they get the money without employment, without jobs, without the possibility to feed themselves or to treat themselves? How do they buy? So these are also some challenges that I want to throw out to you out there. Do some homework. We all need to go to work. We're not only going to be having these conversations and have people to educate and to lecture us, but most often we'll be doing policy debate. And so we are going to put up questions out there and ask you to present your position on the policies of the development of Africa, the Africa that we want. So we want to get to work. We want to get young people think. Just think about the possibility of creating and the possibility of fleeing. And we try to do some mathematical formulas there. Which one is at a loose win? But of course, we also see indications on this topic that we're saying migrants fleeing. There's a lot of components involved in it. Now, even the migrant community, like us that are in Europe, are we creating? So we're still dependent on job. We're still dependent on retirement benefits. And so even if those that are already in the diaspora, do they create? Do they think about, building a legacy, doing businesses? It's still the same scenario, leaving the continent because of unemployment, but the goal and the mission remains one. Get an education, get a job, pay your bills, retire, get retirement benefit. So the question is, how are we ever going to start thinking about creating wealth that we can pass on from generation to generation? It means we have to go beyond, we have to go above just thinking, earning a salary, just being comfortable, right? Just pay my bills and then maybe just save something for rainy days. Which generation is going to be the generations of millionaires on the continent? Which generation is going to be the one of the Mansa Musa brains? Which ones? I mean, we know one of Africa's richest and history till today. I mean, we can argue. Do your research. Africans do research. Digital platforms and social media platforms like the Pan-African Daily TV is just one of those tools. But when you can ask Mr. Google Institute about anything, now we all heard about Google, but we also heard about startpage.com. These are all search engines. There's not going to be in the future, I can pay school fees anymore. I can have access to education. That is history. The digital age is here. If you want to go to school, you sit only with your phone. You can get a degree. No African is going to complain again. We don't have, possibility to send our kids to school. Yes, maybe in that sector, there's still going to be that problem. But a young African that has been through secondary and high school and even a degree holder and that cannot research, there is something still not working. And so this is the kind of a revolutionary mindset that we want to build in our young people. Think and Grow Rich, for instance. I mean, I was just doing a research on how many African billionaires are authors, book authors, just to give back a legacy of how they got there. You barely find it, right? Massage. But I'll be doing these presentations with us. What kind of books really can an African dream of? Because it is really not, it's usual somehow, like with us, like, the African is just being made to think about poverty. Yes, we're talking about our history. Our professors, our leaders, our mentors have told us when we know our history, it is going to erase the misery or the mystery, right? But if we are even still focusing on history, why don't we also talk about, the African richest kingdoms? monarchs, billionaires. Why do we really focus when we're talking about history? It's only on the things that belittle us to think economically. I'm just talking about the brain. Even when we talk about history, it is still like some kind of a taboo for us to address the wealthy kingdoms. And so give the young African a revolutionary economical brain. Now we're talking about the brain drain, but most of it we're still focusing on some kind of things that are not sustainable. We're still focusing on a one-on-one paycheck, get my stuff done, and I'm comfortable. And we're still talking about in our comfort zones. Yeah. But now the other nations and race and even our competitors are thinking about producing generational wealth. Why we are just still even taking our little savings, buying our way to Europe to just still come into another form and just think that we're going somewhere. I want to challenge our intellect to think more than just that. And I want to call on you young people on the continent. We are going to actually elaborate on this topic. We'll show the videos, we'll show, some of the statistics, and you ask yourself, is it worthy? It is not about you not coming to Europe. It's not about you not going out of Africa. I mean, the world is open for travel. Unfortunately, the pandemic is now doing some kind of restrictions, and we're seeing new dynamics. We're also going to talk about those changes because actually we are in a period of a change management, but we are not putting the tools. We are not even seeing the signs. We still just to focus on the death rate of it. But we're not seeing that as the death rate is climbing, even all the infection rate, business is also growing amidst the pandemic. Now, while we Africans sit and only mourn every day, yes, we mourn our loss, but let us talk about the growth. Let us talk about the possibility for young people to just dream on knowing I can create and be something. Sit on your Android phones every day. How do you use this technology? It is technology. In those days when we had these phones that you could do virtual meetings and stuff like that, and we already saw something like Zoom, we didn't even know that it was going to be one of the biggest applications. And then you see other applications coming in like TikTok, Twitter's becoming celebrities. Did we ever know that this was a plan? We just thought that this technology that is coming up, but we didn't know that this technology was already preparing the 21st century world, and that it will be difficult to meet again face to face. Yeah, so we're still struggling to even get dates for open event. And as we already seen, apps are already coming where we'll be having this event virtually, and people can actually exhibit like on the Africa Festival in Tübingen, exhibition rooms, conference room, meeting rooms. So all these technologies are coming up. While we talk about this death, this lust and all things, let us also begin to channel our energy on the things that uplift us and give us the audacity and the boldness and the courage to create wealth. It is not a taboo. I read a book, No One is Born Poor. No, nobody is born poor. You just need to figure out how. But our energy is too redirected on just the negatives. And we say it, we promote it, we rebrand it without being conscious. Yeah. So we are calling on all our young people to sit up. This is the generation where we want to start. And we'll be bringing challenging success stories here on the Pan African Daily TV. As we already said, Saturday the 24th, we are starting with this series of the Pan African Daily TV Institute for Success Stories. We want to really go behind the background to see who are the young millionaires on the continent, who owns this private jet. It is not really only about money, but it's also what social responsibilities are they giving back to their communities. Yes, you make this money. Otherwise, we're just going to be another system like the world systems that we're seeing, exploiting. And we begin to ask. But it's obvious that you can see that we don't even have them. If we actually had them, the situation on the continent would have been different because governments actually don't create jobs. Institutions do, innovations do. It is not the government. Yeah, so we want to challenge the brains of our young people to think big and grow big and make money and help your people. It is not always going to be the hands of the air and cry for the government to give us jobs. Jobs are still going to just keep you from hand to mouth. What are we going to think of? I just bought a piece of land, and then imagine our parents when they even did not have, and that's some of the mistakes too they did. They never taught us how to create wealth. Instead of enjoying their lives, with their wives, and that they even rather thought about the future. They could acquire lands and keep for their generations. They could save, they lived a kind of a minimal lives. And that's why you see every African parent own a land, own a real estate in the village. Yes, they do. But they were doing it to pass it. But you ask yourself, if you are inheriting, what are you doing with your life? So you inherit and just say, you need to create that wealth and multiply for the next generation, isn't it? So now we want to challenge the brains of our young people, like I said. Yeah. So this topic is going to be a series also that we'll be producing. So like it's not always going to be about all the human right abuse. Yes, that's already, a poor child Africa. But now we want to discover the king, the prince, the queens, the doers, the makers, the shakers of Africa. Not just the voice for the voiceless, but the voice of the powers. Yeah, we also have them. And they're doing incredible work also. When they create employment, when they invest, so they create jobs. No one is talking about them. So let us focus on those things around us that make us really get that wealth. Yeah. Africans are working on wealth every day. Even trash. In Europe, people make money out of trash. Trash. Now, you see, even some countries that are doing business with Africa, they talk about recycling. Because our trash on the street is one of the investment opportunities on the continent. The trash is the biggest sector for investors until we have companies that are building, how to recycle our trash. That's a business opportunity, right? I mean, select trash. You put the plastic that is destroying our planet, and then you put the organic, and then we can farm with it. That's a whole massive business sector. I know the city of Tübingen is having a partnership with Moshi in Tanzania, and one of their projects is this recycling, right? So imagine even just the dirt on Africa is a business opportunity. The trash that we produce is a whole massive lot of giving monies to a lot of people out there on the continent. So let us think bigger. Let us go beyond just only crying. Yes, we're going to talk about the situation in Chad, but what is it that we want to learn about? We want to know about really Chad. This country, these are some of the countries that we don't touch. Yeah, we touch some of the East African countries, West African countries, but some of those names that we know. But maybe a child in the diaspora, you talk about Chad. Where is Chad? Because this is a French-speaking country. So talking about the death, the passing away of the president of Chad means automatically we are talking about the situation in Chad. Yeah, want to give some statistics. Want to give some, not just only the president of Chad that passed away. So we are not only going to talk about the situation, but we're also going to talk about economic and facts and statistics. And then we get into even some conflicts. Why? These are all stories that we didn't know until now. Or maybe you know. Send us your comment on our show, right? So situation chat is going to come up tomorrow. It's going to also be an open platform. Like I said, do your research. Want to know more out there. If you're a Chadian, you want to call it and share with us how the death of this passing of your president affects you, and what is it going to mean to you. We saw Tanzanians wail for Magufuli. They're like, we would never live without him. Now, what does the passing away of His Excellency Idris Deby mean to a Chadian? What is it? Is it heartbroken? Are they seeing a transition now that his son, who is the youngest, African leader now, as of today, we want to know, what do young Africans think about it, right? So most of them, we think they're not prepared. They're prepared already. One down, and then we see already another being installed, right? So yeah, we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And then, like I said, Thursday, we're going to come back to this topic of African migrants, but on the concept of what are the solutions? How can we transform this tragic situation into wealth on the continent? If you see the chunks of monies that people are buying their death at sea, it is not possible. Something is wrong, and we have to correct it. It's our responsibility. If you know anything, if you have any idea, you have any suggestion, how we can transform this misery into wealth, please be our guest on Thursday. Yeah. So we know about the situation in Malawi, and this one, I'm really happy for Patrick, who brought my attention to it while we were waiting to connect on the show, and he just told us about the COVID report of the Malawian president, and I want to search into my notes and get it clear here. Today, it was reported on the Pan-African Daily TV Facebook page that the Malawian president, Lazarus Chakwera, has ordered the arrest of all public officials who were involved in loss of US 7 million COVID-19 funds. He also fired Labour Minister Ken Kadondo for using 631,000 kwacha of COVID-19 money to travel abroad. Is it telling you something? Are we seeing some relationships here? And the president himself said this: I have dropped him from my cabinet accordingly. Even though the minister has since returned the money, his usage of funds means that the money was unavailable for its intended purpose, which it needed most. So even the minister bringing back that money, does it solve that problem? Right? Yeah, we know that crime on crime. I have the senator, one of my co-friends, the senator advised me and said, no. I mean, if you're caught stealing and you refund it, so there could be no lawsuit against you. Yeah, and so I think that's some of the critics that some people already following up on the chat to say yes, but he returned that money. But the president is very clear and disciplined on this, and this is the Africa that we want. Yes, you might have returned it, but the purpose intended for that money. Yeah, I mean, if the money was set to build hospitals and refrigerators or breeding or mask, and this money was taken for other uses. Remember, it's the COVID fund. It's the COVID fund. It's not even public. Yeah. And so we're seeing some particularities here, which might sound very, very positive for as an example, as a good example, as a matter of fact, right? Yes, travel bans, COVID fund mismanagement, and even though you bring back the money, no, you still go down for. And he still said this. His Excellency Chakwera said this: I cannot have in my cabinet any individuals who either spend the money budgeted for one thing on something else, or do not ask tough questions to ensure that the money that they are spending on something was budgeted for that purpose. Wow. Now, we're going to talk about Malawi on a special note. We're beginning to see some hope. That's what I'm saying, even though we actually down. But let's look at the other side of the coin. Let's look at the other side of the coin. Which are these countries that are doing good? Which are the leaders? Since nearly all, they have their critics and their shortcomings, of course, even them. But which are some of these good case studies that we can learn from? And now we see an emerging president that is that is actually implementing, according to the Constitution, what is needed to be done. So it is reported that 14 people, no, wait, 14 people, including senior officials, have been so far arrested. 14 people. Yeah, and they are senior. I mean, we'll start seeing another kind of gameplay here, reflecting a little bit like the case in Tanzania. Yeah, corruption, fight, mismanagement of budget of state budget budget. I want to say state budgeted funds. God, please give me a dialect. Give me Swahili, please. I don't want to be chewing my tongue, struggling to say some of these things that are not my native tongues. Come on, right? Okay, until then. So His Excellency said something again very interesting. In a televised address, he said he had commissioned an audit into how 6.2 billion Malawian kwacha, equivalent to 8 million, intended for the country's coronavirus response program, had been spent, and that this had identified the funds had vanished, been misused, and left dead. I mean, sometimes we sit, I think the leadership of Africa and this kind of leaders is just trying to prove to us that we keep bulleting just the presidents. But I'm telling you, the entourage, like we say, his whole cabinet. So who are we actually going to trust as a leader? And that brings us to another question of Africa's human resource problems. Though we're talking about skills, we're talking about unqualified politicians, people who just aspire to be politicians. They really don't actually know the policies, the constitution. That is not even the point. But the Africa we want is paying allegiance of service to your people. And so you see, not only this presidents, why most of these presidents that are head of state are being bulleted is because if they don't produce an accountability and or an open audit like what we're seeing here, then it calls all for concern. What is going on is what every African child or community would question. Now, but when we see these good seeds that are coming up and producing this result, and if African continents and countries would actually kind of duplicate this, please, 2063 is not far. The agenda for the Africa that we want, even 2030, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, is not far. But just imagine that we have all this kind of presidents multiplied and they start holding, their own governments and comrades accountable and showing some really concrete measures out there. I think we should be approaching the right direction. And we are all looking forward and happy to celebrate this. Yeah. All right. So that is a good case, Malawi. Thumb ups. Yeah, Malawi, thumb ups. We're looking forward. We're seeing you. We're not saying that everything is good. No one is going to be perfect. No government or system. But at least we're going to start actually showing these kind of case studies that make us sleep well. Make us put our face in the public like Africans. Make us not fall and lose our faces. And like when they show something, it's always going to be that. No, we want to start this kind of leaders that are, strategically managing their countries and also, holding this irresponsibility act or, yes, accountable. Europe does it. They also mismanagement of funds, people putting some, disappearing here and there. Who doesn't do, even from us citizens? Yeah. So, but of course, because we're in a governance system and we need good leadership and we need the progress of Africa, there has to be some house cleaning. I would love you to be my guest on these topics and the coming programs. I really will not stay here long for today because, like I said, we didn't have a guest today and we would have been holding up this, but it was necessary that we break up these happenings on the continent just to reflect and then go back and do your homework and meet us here tomorrow. Remember, we're talking about Chad, research about Chad, the population, where it's located, the culture, the languages, the economy, the GDP. Yeah, particular about Chad. That's your homework, right? We're not going to act the mainstream media where we put facts and come and read it to you. And so it's just like an entertainment, right? No, we are here to build the Africa that we want. And Dr. Susan here is not going to do that alone. It's a whole collective. So do your homework. I do mine. And we meet here tomorrow and to talk about the situation out there and take some feedbacks and comments and calls from Chadians. How do they actually feel this sudden passing away? For us and Africans worldwide, it is a loss. One loss is always a loss. And there is no bad loss. There is no loss. There's no life that is saying that we're going to sit down and say, oh no, please go. Their wishes. And exactly, that's I heard a comment, but we're going to do that some other day. What do you think is your action? And so sometimes when we're wishing people some kind of things to happen to them, and then it just manifests to us in the action way. So your thoughts, you have to think, you have to really recondition your thoughts to produce what we see in the appearance. Don't go and just wish some people, right? You just wish people dead in your mind, and then you expect something good result. Let God judge them. Nature and every other thing has a way to compensate people. But I think it's just unhuman for people, because I saw some tweets, I was just like, anyway, I don't have anything against anybody has this opinion to their feelings and how they express it. But I think in a community, each soul that is lost on the planet is just a loss. Doesn't matter how the seed was bad. And I don't think every seed is just bad. Yeah. So it's totally bad. Just to say that. Good. What is happening again before I leave you and we see ourselves tomorrow? Oh, there is some good news. There is some good news. If you check on our scrolling text on the Pan-African Daily TV, you're going to see that we are starting Campaign 21. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about that, because people need to start applying for that campaign. Yeah, you need to start applying to be a volunteer. But the good news, and it is so sweet, I don't even know whether I should announce it here, because it's like I should keep it to myself. I should keep it to myself. Now, we have been lobbying for a satellite. We have been lobbying for investors. We've been lobbying, to just not just lobbying. We've just been doing our work and waiting for opportunities for Africans to see this as an opportunity to invest. For us to have a media, or for us to just to have mustn't be the main media, but for us to have good equipment, a streaming studio, staff, and so we can do some kind of news, weather, sport, event, and that kind of mega newsrooms that we're seeing out there. It has been a cry for long, and we also thought, people are not actually reacting. Africans are silent. They don't want to support their own stuff, oh, look. And we've been having some major offers. But from non-Africans, guess what? Yes, we've been having offers and people that have really been like, and that's why we still say Africans don't see opportunities. They don't see. They just wait for people to put it. And then tomorrow they're going to see the Pan-African TV go boom. And they're like, what happened? But these are all business opportunities, right? So yeah, there are a lot of these investees and investors, and if you're one of them, hey, this text is rolling out there. The Campaign 21 would be of very, very big interest to you. But we want volunteers to work on us to get this 1 million subscribers. I'll tell you what, it's not just subscribing, but the gig that is behind this 1 million subscribers. And I don't want to share it here. That's going to be too much generous of information that I'm putting out. But just know Campaign 21 hashtag 100 million subscribers is our campaign that we're going to be running here, and we're looking for volunteers. Now, if you want to be a volunteer, out there, just drop us your contact on the WhatsApp, and we're going to train you how to be a volunteer. And these are going to be the first people that will have the first-hand information on what the campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV is going to be about. Yeah, it's going to be a luxury. It's going to be a luxury. Yes, you want to find out what are also your compensations as a volunteer. Join us in our team. Let us create this Pan-African Daily TV campaign together. We push something forward. You know, the 1 million subscribers is a bargain on something. We're bargaining on something. Yeah. So, like I said, if you're interested to be a volunteer, it is a pride. Honestly, it's an honor. It's an honor to just serve and be a volunteer on this. I've been volunteering all my life for the continent of Africa. I can name million reasons for you to be a volunteer for your race, for your continent, particularly Africa. I can name million reasons why you are the richest on that continent. Right? And volunteering is not just like you come and you just show and people think. It's really an access. Volunteering, you give access to information, to statistics, and it's also a way to do an on-job training in some other aspect, like we would say. So please make sure you text us and say, I want to be a volunteer on the campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on Pan-African Daily TV, because the deadline is there for us to get that back gain. If we don't have it during this time, we lost it. And we don't want to lose it, right? So we are so grateful to be here. I would open up the lines and take up some few calls before we end up today's edition, and we open up properly with our guest for tomorrow. If there's some calls or comments coming in, please call +419 +49 1578 211 2379 on the Pan-African Daily TV. I'll just take some few calls. If there are no calls, I see some comments also in the chat box, and that would be okay for today. And we would see ourselves here tomorrow on this breaking here on the Pan-African Daily. So I thank you. I get some feedbacks of people. Oh, I love watching the Pan-African Daily TV. Yes, let us hear more about your comment. How has the Pan-African Daily TV actually impacted you? How did you get to us? How did you know us? Have you subscribed on our YouTube channel? If you haven't done so, join our 1 million subscribers campaign. You are not going to regret it at all. Okay, you're not going to regret. So as a matter of fact, it's just about recruiting. I want to keep it, but it's like something is really pushing me to say, because I'm so excited that we are going to make it. We're going to make it because why? In just less than a year, do you know what? We have had 1 million viewers. 1 million viewers on our YouTube channel and 15,000 subscribers in less than a year. This is amazing. You can underestimate that, but honestly, in just less than a year, do you know what? Honestly, it is amazing what we have achieved. Sometimes we underestimate our power. So I'm not thanking you for doing it. I'm congratulating you for actually doing it. 1 million views on our YouTube, and this YouTube we created in June, remember, right? 15,000 plus subscribers. This is enormous. But you know what? We want to do this fast track and push Africa at the speed of light. And we're going to meet this challenge campaign 1 million subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, please do it right now. You're watching me yet. Whether you're watching from the Pan-African Daily TV Facebook page, subscribe on the YouTube. The campaign is on YouTube. Yeah, you're following us on Facebook, but the campaign is for YouTube. Please do it. Just do it and see some miracles happen. It is also a track to see how active we Africans are. And we want to reach out to 1 million, means we can change a lot. So what does that mean to you? Do you want me to unveil? No, just be a volunteer and you get a certificate of one of the greatest king and princesses of Africa. We want to get it. I already see people that were already, yeah, dropping it. Yeah, thank you, Shields. Thank you, Shields. You say, we love you, Dr. Susan. I love you too. Remember, I love all of you. All of us are here on this purpose, and we're going to make it. Take out the name, please. And we're going to make it happen. Apart from the breaking coming out here of these tragic situations that are going on, we want to start focusing, like I said before, on the positive energy of Africans. And so you know a story that is a vibrant story of young Africans that are doing, we know a lot of them out there in the diaspora, go on, richest Africans. But do we know it? Most of the time we talk only about the poorest ones. Yes, it is the majority, but we need to showcase the rich ones, and that we get from the rich and give to the poor. It's fair. It's just as fair. So thank you so much. Please like us, comment, share, subscribe, okay, and add one another on it. So per subscribers or per volunteer, you bring us 1,000 subscribers and check it out and see what you get, okay? So thank you so much. We see ourselves tomorrow. It has been a pleasure to come up shortly and just share these wonderful moments and times again with you. You never know. We never know. Just shot dead today, unexpectedly at the age of 68. We know his comrades, that most of his comrades that are in their 80s and 90s. Yeah. So he died young. And now his son, 37 years old, is sitting on the throne or sitting on that leadership. Yeah. So let us see ourselves tomorrow, and we talk about a lot of good things here on the Pan-African Daily TV. Thank you for watching. Good night. We love you. We see us tomorrow. Bye.
You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want. Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home.